Today, we're diving into the fundamental commands of SQL. The actual language that lets us talk directly to databases. So the big question is, how exactly do you do that?
I mean, it's a really good question, right? You've got this massive, perfectly organized library of information, but how do you get anything out of it? You can't just walk up and ask it in plain English. Nope, you need something special. A very specific, very powerful language.
And that, my friends, is SQL. And here's the thing. It's not about having a chat. It's about giving commands. It's precise. It's powerful. And, well, it's pretty much the global standard for handling data.
Okay, to make this all super clear, let's think about it this way. Just imagine your database is a massive, high-security bank vault, and inside there are countless safety deposit boxes, each stuffed with valuable information. So, what's SQL? Well, SQL is the entire set of special keys and commands you need to get in there and manage everything. So, first things first. Before you can manage anything, you got to be able to see what's even in the vault, right? This is the most basic, fundamental thing you can do. Just looking. You need a key that lets you peek inside, but not necessarily touch anything. And that key has a name. It's called the Data Query Language, or DQL for short. Its whole purpose in life is just to ask questions and pull back data. So think of it as your special key for just looking at the contents of any box you're allowed to open.
All right, let's look at a real command here. The big one in DQL is select. So when you see select star, that's basically you saying, hey, show me everything. Then from customers tells it where to look, in this case, the customers table. And the last part, where country equals UK, that's the magic filter. It says, but wait, I only want to see the customers from the UK. See how that works? And that is where the real power is. With just one simple line of code, you can comb through millions, even billions of records to find exactly what you're looking for. It's how a shopping website instantly finds every single blue shirt it has in stock, or how your favorite streaming service knows exactly which shows you've already binged. This is the absolute foundation of data analysis.
Okay, great. So now you can see the data. But let's be real. In a secure bank vault, you can't just hand out keys to every single box to every single person. That would be chaos. You absolutely need a way to control who gets access to what. And this right here is where data security really starts.
So how do we manage that? With something called the Data Control Language, or DCL. Now, if DQL was the key to look inside a box, think of DCL as the master key ring. It's what the Vault Manager uses to decide who gets which keys and who doesn't. It's all about controlling access. And you know what? DCL is actually pretty straightforward. It really just boils down to two commands that do the exact opposite of each other. You've got grant, that's the one that gives permissions, and you've got revoke, the one that, you guessed it, takes them away. Giver, taker. It's this perfect, simple balance for security. Let's look at an example. This grant command, it's being very, very specific. We're not just handing over the keys to the kingdom here. We're saying, okay, I'm going to grant the power to select, that is, to view, and to update, to change information, but only on the customer's table and only for user one. Super precise, right? Super targeted. And what goes on must come off, just as easily. You can snatch that key right back. Let's say user one changes roles and doesn't need to see customer data anymore. Boom. This revoke command yanks back just the select permission on that same table from that same user. Now, they might still be able to update data, but they can't see it anymore. That's what I call total control. And this is so important. Why does this matter? Because DCL is literally the foundation of all data security and privacy. It's how a big company makes sure a new intern can't just browse through everyone's salary information. It's how a hospital guarantees that a doctor can only pull up the records for their own patients. It's absolutely critical. All right, so you can see data. You can control who else sees the data. But what about when you actually change something? How do you lock that in and make it permanent? Or maybe even more importantly, what if you make a colossal mistake? You definitely need one last layer of control, this time over the changes themselves. And that's where the transaction control language, or TCL, comes into play. Just think of it as the final official step of any operation inside the vault. It's the command that either puts the final stamp on the paperwork, making a change permanent, or it's the big red emergency undo button that reverses a terrible mistake before any real damage is done. Honestly, the easiest way to get this is to think of a save button and an undo button, just like in a document. Commit, that's your save button. You hit it, and all the changes you just made are locked in for good. Rollback, that's your life-saving undo button. It's your escape hatch. It wipes out everything you've done since the last time you hit save. Let's watch how this works. Okay, step 1. Someone runs a command to update the country for a customer. But here's the key part. At this moment, that change is just temporary. It's floating in limbo. It's not real until step 2, when you run the commit command. That's the moment it gets locked in and saved permanently.
And here's why that matters. This is your safety net. Just imagine your heart stops. You accidentally run a command to delete every single order. The whole table. It's a disaster, right? Well, not yet. Because you haven't committed it, you can just type roll back, hit enter, and poof, the deletion is undone. It's like it never even happened. What a relief.
So, what's the big takeaway? TCL is all about stability and integrity. The perfect example is a bank transfer. You want the money to leave your account and arrive in the other person's account. It has to be one complete action. TCL is what makes sure of that. If any part of that transfer fails, the whole thing gets rolled back. Your money doesn't just vanish into thin air. It's incredibly important. All right, so we've looked at the 3 main groups of commands we use to work with our data vault. Let's pull this all together now into one simple idea. This idea of a keyring really is the best way to remember it all. You've got your DQL key, that's for seeing the data. You've got your DCL key, that's for controlling who else gets to see it. And you've got your TCL key for saving your changes or hitting undo. See, control, and save. Simple as that. You know, these commands, they're the absolute building blocks for everything, from the simplest website to the most complex global financial systems. They give you incredible power to build amazing things with data, but they also give you the huge responsibility to protect that data. So now that you have the keys, the real question is, what will you build and what will you protect?